Well, I want to talk about how to make the most of your life. There's a statement in the Bible, and a number of people have this idea that the Christian life is rather a deprived life. You just can't do anything you want to do. And that is such a myth. It's interesting. 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 8 says, "To sum up, let all be harmonious, sympathetic, brotherly, kind-hearted, and humble in spirit, not returning evil for evil or insult for insult, but saying a blessing instead. For you were called for this very purpose, that you might inherit a blessing. For let him who means to love life and see good days refrain his tongue from evil and his lips from speaking guile. Let him turn away from evil and do good. Let him seek peace and pursue it. For the eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears attend to their prayer. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil." I've always been impressed with that passage, that God certainly is into people loving life and seeing good days. Jesus would say, if you know the truth will make you free. And also said, anyone who commits sin is the slave of sin, John chapter 8. And so the Bible repeatedly notes that happiness and holiness are often linked together. And so I want to talk about a number of things here of how to make the most of the one life you are given, because it is one life. Hebrews chapter 9, 27, 28. We only live once, and it is short. Okay, first of all, take social risks. Jesus did. He just went up and started talking to individuals, and we need to be more like that. Wisely know the risks to take. Book of Proverbs talks about that the wise man sees evil coming and avoids it. Not all risks are wise. Sin and things like that, stay away from that. Stay away from things that can gum up and complicate your life. But take the risks that you need to take. Speak to people. Make new friends. Be willing to do hard things. Speak up. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11. Speak up when you need to speak up. Also, do not be afraid of embarrassing yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously. The way you learn is you make mistakes. The way you learn is you kind of go from inexperience to experience. People also always just love the person who doesn't take themselves too seriously. Book of Proverbs chapter 9, 8, 9 says, "Teach a righteous man, and he will increase in learning." So a wise person is not the person that arrogantly thinks they know everything. The wise person is always the person who knows what they don't know and is always willing to learn. If someone passes on you, you're dating, and someone passes on you, then they'll miss out. Don't go into a dark depression. Don't think that you cannot live without them. There's a number of people out there. You're going to have a great life. And if you're godly, the person that teams up with you is making a wise choice. It's okay that everyone does not want to be your partner in life. That's okay. It's okay if someone doesn't want to marry you or date you. That's fine. They can find somebody else. But you're going to have a great life. You might be the most interesting thing happening to another individual right now, especially if you're a Christian and someone meets you. Talk to people as if you'd known them all your life. Ask them questions about things that you really want to know about. Also, ask the question that typically you never ask. Too many times we meet someone, get to know them, it's kind of superficial, and we walk away saying, I should have asked one more question. Do not be self-conscious. Yeah, I've spent too much of my life being self-conscious. It's okay if people are better than you at things. You want people to win, and you want someone to be better than you are at this or that. That's fine. That is okay. You typically benefit when people are smarter than you are. I mean, I have a cell phone, I have a computer, there's the internet, I have cars that have all sorts of great electronics in them, and you know why? Because there's a lot of people out there smarter than I am in different areas. People are the most interesting thing on the planet. Nature's amazing, and this world God made, Psalm 24, verse 1, and it belongs to Him. But people are more impressive than Yosemite or Yellowstone. Okay, People are the most valuable thing on this planet because it's the people that are made in God's image, not the planet. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's not possessions. It's not necessarily things that you're going to see. It's not a hike and it's not a mountaintop. It's the people that you will meet. People, not places, not events. I like events. I look forward to seeing many of our national parks as I begin a road trip across America. But what I'm really looking forward to is the relationships, the interesting people I will meet, and their stories. Happiness is not at that place. Too many people delay their happiness. Well, I will be happy when I graduate from college. I'll be happy when I get settled in my career. I'll be happy when I finally find someone to marry. I'll be happy when I'm making over 75,000 a year or whatever. I'll be happy when finances are not month to month anymore. Um, don't be delaying your happiness. That's a mistake. Because if you start on that track, then you will always delay it because in life, there will always be something that you don't have yet. Not only that, but when you get to the point that life is very comfortable, that you got money in the bank, that in fact you got money in the bank for a number of months if you were out of work. Okay, but there's a problem with that. You could be old, right? There's a give and take in life. In any stage of life, you gain something, but also you lose something. That stage of life where you get at where life is pretty comfortable and you don't worry about bills anymore, typically what you've often lost at that point is your youth. Okay? So enjoy what you have. Realize what a priceless possession it is. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the process because most of life is the ride. Too many people like, well, I'll just kind of endure this trip to get to this location. Well, wait a minute. A lot of that trip is the traveling. Okay? And not only that, but also tend to enjoy the unexpected, the delays, the traffic jams, the cancellations, or whatever it may be. Because that's where you really grow. And that will also give you some great stories. See the humor in life. Have an unconventional joy that's not wrapped up in how much money you have in the bank. Have an unconventional joy that's not wrapped up in a glass of wine or etc. Okay? Have a joy that the world cannot touch. Have a joy that, like during the coronavirus, you can be in lockdown, etc. You can't go to the bar or whatever. You can't go out to eat, but you still have joy because your life is not superficial. Your life is a very big life. Happiness involves work. Do you really want to be happy? I'm convinced I've run into people that they've made a decision not to be happy. Joy. The Bible actually commands us. It commands us to love. That love is not simply emotion that sweeps upon us. Love's a choice. Patience is a choice. Contentment, virtue, those are all choices. And so if you go like, I'd really like to be a courageous, virtuous, patient, unselfish, mature person. Okay, you can. Read the Bible, practice it, apply it, meet together with other Christians, and continue to grow. That will happen. So I know there are a lot of people that are afraid of happiness because they can't be a victim any longer if they're happy. Not only that, but they have to take total responsibility for their happiness, right? You just can't blame, man, I'd be happy, but all these other people around me are, okay, hey, long as that's your attitude, you're never going to find happiness if you're blaming everybody else for why you're not happy. Look for a reason to smile, then frown. Count your blessings, and they're blessings that are constantly around you. Also, be aware that you're currently writing the story of your life. You're the author of the story. You're not a helpless character. You're not just one of the characters in the story that you can tell early on in a movie, that guy's going to get eaten by the giant anaconda, or whatever. There's just certain movies that you start watching, you already tell who's going to die first, okay? Don't be that person. You're writing a story. Don't kill off your character. You're the main character of the story outside of God. Also consider others more important than yourself. Your life is going to be richer when you surround yourself with really good, smart people. You can learn something from everyone, even from a bad example. At least you can learn I'm not going to be like that guy. Okay. Or maybe someone's going through divorce. They weren't wise when it came to the marital choices. You can say, all right, and I learned from that. You don't have to learn the hard way. You don't have to follow down the path that other people have went down that ended in drug addiction and alcoholism. You can kind of check yourself at the door and say, I'm looking in that room. I don't like what's in that room. I'm looking at that path, that trail. That looks like a bad trail. I think I'm going to take the other trail. You don't have to learn the hard way. What will you wish you would have done? When you're at a fork in the road, someone says, at every fork in the road, the devil's there, right? Getting you to kind of take the easier, more convenient path. The path that tickles your ears. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 3. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, which choice are you going to wish you would have made? Typically, the choice that you wish you would have made would have been the virtuous, noble choice and the courageous choice, the godly choice, not the selfish choice. Typically, people do not look upon their life and admire the selfish choices that they made in life. Be open to conversations. Look for open people. Watch their body language. Usually you can tell who would be interested in a conversation. You can kind of tell that by their body language. Who's ready for you to come up and say, hey, how you doing? What's your story? There are many people out there. Be looking for the good. Be looking for the good as you interact with people. I know the news, it tells us about the bad, but that's what makes the news, unfortunately. Go out and look for the good. Particularly, look for the good in this country. Ask the questions you wish you had asked, particularly of your parents and grandparents. Ask them about, how did you meet? Why did you choose mom or dad? What was your dating like? What have been the hard choices in your life? How were you raised? What do you believe? What do you value? Because once they're gone, that information is gone forever. You also want to ask the questions and get the story from them so that when you retell the story, you're telling the correct version of the story. Have your eyes up. Colossians 3:1. Set your mind on things above. Take the time. Be accessible. Have your eyes up. Get them out of the rut. Get them out of the list that you have. Get them out of going to work, coming home, sleeping, eating, etc., going to bed, going to work again. Get your eyes out of the rut. Okay? A lot of people are in the rut. Hop out of it. Let them do the rut. You choose to take a different path. People need to know you, particularly if you're a Christian. People need to know you because you have the truth. You have access to the truth that can set people free. You have the answers to all their personal problems. All right? Yeah, that's right, Bella. Bella here. This is my cat, Bella, and Bella's helping me with this podcast. Create confidence. You know how you create confidence? You start doing hard things. You start doing something like, it's kind of uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it. Haven't done that before, but I'm going to do it. And guess what? Typically, immediately you have confidence in other areas of your life. You get up and do a little public speaking, and all of a sudden you're thinking like, well, if I can do that, I can do this or that over there. I've noticed this with many people that have got on a diet. They've lost some weight, and all of a sudden it's like, well, I did that, so I'm going to quit smoking at the same time. It's confidence builds confidence, all right? And so that's important. Accept challenges, yeah. No one's going to want to hear the story of your life of, I hid when people wanted things to do. I did not opt in. I did not volunteer. Let somebody else. No one's really interested in the person's life where it was constantly, I was a wallflower. I let everybody else do it. I didn't accept any challenges. I didn't move out of my comfort zone. No one's interested in that story. No one would ever make a movie about someone in that story. That's a boring story, all right? You don't grow in that story. You just become, when you don't accept challenges, basically, you lose the rights to make the movie of your life, and you just become a secondary bit player in somebody else's story. That's what happens when you don't accept new challenges. And also when you don't follow God and obey God. You just become a character in somebody else's story now. Have the confidence that you've never met a mess that you couldn't handle. Okay? I've had some messes in my life, and physical and others as well. I've had some big physical messes like that seemed overwhelming, and halfway through cleaning up whatever, I just thought, this is ridiculous, and almost gave up. But you know what? Have the confidence that, you know what? I can clean this up. And it could be that maybe it's an estate you're taking care of. Maybe it's your mom and dad's house and they were pack rats or hoarders, and you're the only one cleaning that thing up, and you're just going, okay. But you know what? You can do it. You can do it. I kind of have the confidence that, hey, you know what? Um, there's a lot of things that people do, and they're not rocket scientists. And so, you know what? I can probably do that too if I wanted to, if I put some effort into it. Avoid stagnation. Stagnation is where you become more and more like yourself. Okay. You know people like that, don't you? Relatives, etc., family members, coworkers. Every year they just become more and more like themselves, and that's their problem. They need to become more like Christ than themselves. So avoid becoming more and more like yourself every year. Avoid becoming settled in your ways. Be flexible. Avoid regrets. Do what you wish that you would have done. Okay. The conversations, etc., the sacrifices, all of that. When you're tempted by something, as you look back 20 years from now, what choice are you going to wish that you have made? Do the things that develop the weaker parts of your character and your personality. You're not outgoing, get into public speaking. Yeah. You tend to be a wallflower, volunteer to lead a project. Okay. Put a video on YouTube or whatever. Get out of your shell. Okay. And start bolstering up the weaker aspects. Well, I mean, there are things that people have done that they thought that they never could do. Okay. Too many people go to the grave with a whole lot of unused gifts and talents. Yeah. Unfortunately, most people go through this life and God has a storehouse of blessings waiting for them, and they never open the door. And they use just a few of them. Okay? Look into many people's lives, and what you'll find is all sorts of blessings that are in some closet of their life, all sorts of blessings, amazing blessings that are wrapped in beautiful packages from God, and guess what? They never opened them. And they just got this whole closet or garage or upstairs of all these blessings that were just waiting them. God said, just open it up. And they never opened those blessings. Your life is what you make of it. Yeah, you got a lot more control than you think you have. Avoid, I wish I'd done or said that. How many people, at the end, their life is just a end of, I wish. I wish, I wish, I wish. Don't become the wishing well. Actually do. Just do. Everyone has a story to tell. You're going to have a story to tell. Okay? And take time to hear people's stories. You'll find that a lot of people's stories go against the narrative that you hear in the world. No, not everyone's a hypocrite. And no, not everyone's a victim. And people have overcome. Not everyone's selfish. Not everyone is into themselves. All marriages are not just unhappy situations. I mean, the kind of that false narrative that often the media tries to present to us. Okay. The more you interact with others, the better or fuller your story becomes. Bring new people in your life. You need to always be making new friends, because people are going to exit your life. You're going to lose some friends. People are going to die. People are going to move away. You always need to make new friends. Be the person that people secretly admire. That's important, because sometimes there are heroes that are presented in the media that people do not secretly admire them. That's the people that the world says you need to admire this person, and yet be the person that maybe people don't want to live your lifestyle. Okay? They don't want to live the Christian lifestyle. Hard, whatever. Don't have the courage to do that. All right? But they secretly admire you. Be the person that people secretly admire. I think of Acts chapter 5. After the deaths of Ananias and Sapphira, there are a number of people that, were not interested in visiting the church there in Jerusalem, because that's where hypocrites were struck dead. Right? But then it says the people held them in high regard. high esteem. No, I will not be able to convince even the majority of the people that I run into to become a Christian. Okay, all right. But people can admire the life I'm living to the point that might say, I'm not ready to buy in yet of all of that. I still want to, kind of live for me or whatever. But if I ever do, then I want to be a Christian like he is. Be that type of Christian. Until next time, thank you. My name is Mark.